Alright, so today we're going to try to make 90s jungle slash drum and bass, which I don't actually know what it is. So we're going to use a YouTube video to help us. But before I do that, I'm going to look up what jungle is necessarily. Jungle music, a genre of dance music that developed out of the UK rave scene and sound system culture in the 1990s. I don't know what that means, but it sounds interesting. So, emerging from breakbeat hardcore, the style is characterized by rapid breakbeats, which I know what breakbeats are, heavily syncopated percussive loops, samples, and synthesized effects combined with deep bass lines, melodies, vocals. Okay, so I know what drum and bass is. I just don't know exactly the difference between drum and bass and jungle. It's a direct precursor to drum and bass, apparently. I can figure this out. The term jungle is often used as a synonym for drum and bass, particularly in the United States. Alright, I guess all we need to know is jungle is a precursor to drum and bass, and is from the 90s. That's what we need to know. Alright, and then onto the video we're going to be using as a guide. I found this video yesterday. It's by Estuera, I guess. They make a lot of cool videos like this where they recreate like old EDM genres that I've seen. So yeah, I saw it and I was like, perfect. This is perfect. I could show myself learning how to make it.
After making videos about late 80s new beat and the early 90s rave sound that followed out of it, it's time to look at what happened next. In the glory years of the rave scene, some producers started to focus more on specific elements of the sound, creating new subgenres.
So I think they're going to be talking about like break beats, because I mean that's like the foundation of drum and bass.
Of course, these subgenres always get identified in hindsight. Some people simply feel the need.
That is an awesome graphic. Imagine if I go through and make every single one of these. Maybe I will eventually.
In the UK, tracks started to get produced that focused more on the breakbeats and the darker vibes. This was inspired by the harder sounds coming out of Belgium and the London reggae dub scene. From that point, the genre developed in multiple directions, some more reggae influenced, some more atmospheric and futuristic, some more jazzy, but two constants always can be found. Use of sampled breakbeats underpinned with a very heavy sub bass.
Okay, so that's a pretty easy explanation.
It's doing quite well. It has lots of different sounds. It goes from the more liquid drum and bass with melodic elements, vocals, to the people that are using old hardware again to make the old school 90s jungle hardware.
So I'm not going to be using old hardware. I'm going to be using it's everything is in FL Studio today.
The most important piece of equipment for this genre is the sampler. With only a sampler, a sequencer and a mixer, you can basically recreate any classic drum and bass track you've ever heard. Let's start with the breaks. The vast majority of breakbeats comes from sampling old soul records. The most famous one is the drum part from the Winstons, Amen Brother, but there are other records that have been sampled over and over.
Before going into this, I pre-made a drum loop that I'm going to be using in place of like an old break sample. Yeah, rather than using, because I like to create all my own sounds, so we're gonna use my own drum break today. I'm sure it should work. If not, we'll find out. I can't hear the Amen break without thinking of Powerpuff Girls. Because that's what I was raised on. Alright, so here is the drum break. Here, we'll get rid of that. Is actually, rather than the normal sampler, I load in Fruity Slicer. Here, what BPM is jungle normally? About 160 BPM. That sounds good. We're gonna duplicate that and then have a variation of it. We're gonna clone it. All right, I think that's a good one for a second one. All right, and then let's actually record it, and then we can do more with it. So I'm gonna use Edison. We're gonna make a new one of this and then make it unique. We're gonna stretch. Actually, let's stretch it even more. Okay, and then now we should be able to stretch it back into its little tiny noise. Whoa. Alright, I think we could do some cool stuff with that. And then I want to have one drum break that's sliced up, just like straight in the playlist. And then let's make these unique and have them pitched down on the way. And then let's hear what all the drum breaks sound like in a row. And maybe a phaser to make things weird. Put that on for now. Now let's see what we have.
Time to add the bass part of drum and bass. One of the most common used bass sounds in this genre is actually the S1000 test sine wave. It's one of the samples that loads when you boot up the device without any disks. When you do that, it loads a test program consisting of basic waveforms. And one of those waveforms is responsible for a lot of local earthquakes. You can simply use it the way it is. But to make it a bit more interesting and boomy, you should add a pitch envelope. It's something that is done quite easily in the S1000.
Should I use Vital or Citrus? Those are kind of like my two go-to. I think I'm going to use Citrus for this one. Citrus is pretty good for bass, I think. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, right. Maybe a little faster. I'm going to cut it and then we're going to add Vital. Let's start with the same notes. We're going to change them, but we're going to start with the same notes. So we're going to change the notes up, but that's where we're going to start. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have this saw wave with quite a bit of unison. Lower the detune amount. And then filter it. Now that we have that bass line, we're going to mix the two. The second one. All right, let's hear what it all sounds like.
Early drum and bass still had close ties to the rave sounds of the early 90s. So let's inject some of this rave flavor with the one and only original rave synth, the Roland Alpha Juno.
So I don't have that, but we're gonna make something.
I'm going to transform this simple pad into 90s rave simply by engaging the chord mode. To enhance this pad some more, I'm going to use a looped sample of a high string note, but because it was sampled out of another track with other things going on in the background, it starts to sound very atmospheric when you're playing it a little bit too high or a little bit too low.
So the big thing is like these minor chord pad thing, and then stretched out samples, or like pitched down samples. That seems to be the main thing. So we're gonna go with chords, then vital. Vital's good for chords. So we're doing C minor, that's what I ended up deciding. And then let's kind of add some texture over here, create a keyframe, and then we'll randomize, but then we'll kind of delete everything. Wait, how do I, okay, over there. But, and then let's actually do a randomizer on this. Let's put stereo on it, maybe. Maybe do a filter. I think delay, maybe. Maybe let's downsample it a bit with this, just to add a little bit of texture and then bring the mix way down. Maybe some reverb. Wait, let's just do this. Okay. Into the chords pattern, let's add a sampler, maybe something like that. I think we could do quite a bit with that. Alright, now let's do one more. What is this? What if we pitch this noise up? Just deep noise. Can I stretch it? I made alien noises. But maybe that's what we want. Here, I'm gonna put auto pitch on it, just see if that does something. Gonna put piano verb on it instead for more chaos. Is that what we need? Probably not. But it's what we have. This sounds awful. Okay, so even though it sounds awful, it did end up working for what I want it to do.
We already have more than enough elements to build a solid drum and bass track, but for some more flavors I want to add some vocal samples. Core part of the vocal is time stretched quite a lot.
Sit hard, core.
And then I use it in a track to inject this old school jungle time stretched vocal flavor.
Let's see, add sampler. Then we're gonna stretch it quite a bit. Just maybe add that over here. I'm gonna put this on it for fun. Let's have them both. Okay, and then let's add another one. Alright, I think one last thing. One last kind of vocal sample.
Could you even see me at all? Could you even see me at all?
Sure, something like that, maybe.
Could you even see me at all?
Okay, this is the final listen for real. I don't know if this counts, but this is what we have. So yeah, this is my attempt at 90s jungle / drum and bass, coming from someone who knows nothing about the genres, really. I vaguely know drum and bass, vaguely, before this. And I'd heard of jungle. But other than that, and I mean, I was born in 97, so... chaos.